Welcome to Women's Wars, a podcast series from Birn. I am Jadranka Milicevic. For this series, I have interviewed 10 extraordinary women from countries that emerged from the former Yugoslavia. They are activists and journalists who were inspired by the wars of the 90s to take action to support the survivors and advocate for human rights. By telling their stories, these courageous women show how wars continue to have an impact on ordinary people decades after they were fought. In this episode of Women's Wars, Jadranka Milicevic recalls how, as a refugee in Serbia, her wartime work with the courageous peace activists of Women in Black taught her the importance of supporting others during tough times. In June 1992, around 3 months after war broke out in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Jadranka Milicevic fled Sarajevo to seek safety in the Serbian capital Belgrade, along with her sons aged 3 and 8. She could not escape that guilty feeling, and in December 1992 joined the activist movement Women in Black, which she remained part of for the 3.5 years that she lived in Belgrade during the war in Bosnia. Women in Black is an international network of women who protest against war, militarism, and violence, and who still campaign for peace, justice, and accountability for war crimes to this day. The group was forged amid the violent collapse of Yugoslavia and sought to rally opposition to the Bosnian conflict.
After the aggression started in Bosnia and Herzegovina in April 1992, my family made a decision for me to leave Sarajevo with the 2 boys and go to Belgrade. And when I arrived in Belgrade, I had some friends, some cousins, and for me that was very important. I had a very guilty feeling about leaving my husband, my father, mother, and all others in Sarajevo. And when I heard and saw that Women in Black are on the streets, an organization that was every Wednesday on the streets and talked against the Serbian regime, for me is how I started another life. In December 1992, I was included in the movement Women in Black all the time when I stayed in Belgrade, which was 3.5 years. I started my activist life and did not stop even now. And when you ask me why, I say approximately 32 years, I'm very active for the future on the Balkan. For me, why I say Women in Black is a very important part in my life. And mainly it's the visibility. Every Wednesday on the street we stayed and talked against the regime of Slobodan Milosevic, against all politics of what the Serbian government made at the time in the Balkans, especially in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
She managed to visit Bosnia twice during the war to see her family and show solidarity with people in Sarajevo, which was besieged by Serb forces. How did you manage to travel in?
It was very hard. With this first group, when we visited Sarajevo with a 7-people delegation, we traveled from Belgrade to Croatia. Between Croatia with a plane with which the international soldiers arrived in Sarajevo and returned with the same. It took 24 hours to travel, what is now around 5 hours drive between Sarajevo and Belgrade. But it was important for us that people in Sarajevo knew they have some small parts of people in Serbia, especially in Belgrade, who knew what has happened, who feel guilty, who talk all the time about the responsibility of Slobodan Milosevic and the Serbian regime. And second time again, we organized a bigger group to come again. But it's important to talk about how important it is for wartime to have information that somebody from the other side is the one supporting and helping.
Now living in Sarajevo again, she is the director and co-founder of the Cure Foundation, a human rights NGO that advocates for gender equality and organizes actions, performances, and protests against violence, discrimination, and rights violations. She talks about the importance of women's roles in rebuilding Yugoslavia after World War II, in supporting victims during the wars that followed the breakup of the Yugoslav state, and the huge work done by women for reconciliation after the guns fell silent. She also says that the armed conflicts taught her important lessons. You mentioned before that one of the things that actually helped and kept you going was sisterhood. Is that something that stayed with you even after the war and then with your activism after the war?
Yes, for us it is important for over 19 years. When I talk about connection not only with women from Serbia or Belgrade, where I lived in, but we made contacts with my dear friends from Croatia, from Kosovo, especially from Pristina, women from Montenegro, some women from Italy, Spain, and all around. In time, when you have a really hard situation, now, after 25, 30 years, we have a connection. For me, it's important sisterhood between us in all women, not only in Bosnia and Herzegovina, but also in the region where we have the same problems, have the same relative experience.
Decades after the war, she is upset that many crimes remain unpunished and some of the worst criminals are still being glorified.
When you have in Bosnia and Herzegovina a person who was sentenced for war crimes in The Hague for 20 years and now comes back and is welcomed as a hero, after 25 years, this is not good, when you talk globally about justice.
Thank you for listening. You can find more installments of our Women's War series in our website, balkaninsight.com, or wherever you get your podcasts.